Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2011 Lotus Evora S. Now this was produced between 2009 and 2021. However, production is ceasing this year alongside the Exige and Elise, so Lotus is losing three of its most famous names in favour of a new sports brand. No idea what that is yet, but we'll find out sooner or later. And this S is more powerful than the standard Evora, but on the whole this is on the lower end of the performance scale in comparison to the rest of the Evora range, as this was eventually discontinued in 2014 and replaced by the more powerful 400 in 2015, which, as you guessed, has 400 horsepower. And even then that isn't the most powerful version, as the GT430 Sport, as you guessed, has 430 horsepower. So even though this is nowhere near as powerful as those cars, it's still hardly wanting for power, especially since it's got a really rather nice 3.5 litre supercharged V6 engine, producing 345 horsepower and 295 pounds-feet of torque, which is still pretty damn good, especially in a car that only weighs 3,168 pounds. And at this point, the Evora S was the second car from Lotus to breach the 300 horsepower mark, after the Esprit V8. Obviously, though, that isn't the case anymore. Obviously, several Evoras have passed that, and I think even the Exige has as well. But yeah, even so, I really do like this car. It was a bit of a landmark in terms of Lotus vehicles, as this was not only the heaviest car from Lotus at that point, but it's also the most practical. As you saw then when we looked at the engine, it has a boot, which is more than you got on most Lotus vehicles, as you can see, and also has rear seats, which are handy, and they look like they are probably usable. I doubt you'd get a tall, full-grown adult in there, but you'd definitely get some children in there if you need to be. And the interior overall is fairly nice as well. Again, Lotus weren't well known for their nice interiors, but yeah, it's pretty nice in here. Leather, hand-stitched leather in here. Nice bit of silver aluminium on the go, and it's general nice visibility, nice white on black dials, and just looks all properly nice in here. Though again, lightness is the main aspect of a Lotus vehicle, and even if this is the heavier side of Lotus vehicles, it's still lighter than several other sports cars in the same brand. So nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So rear wheel drive, all of that power, not much in the way of weight. You'd think this would be a bit of a handful, but it really is not, as it's really nicely balanced, even if the weight isn't bang on 50-50. But because the grip, the suspension, the brakes are all, dead on, as you'd expect from a Lotus. It's not only, serious when you want it to be, but it will play around at the same time. So let you listen to the engine for a little bit, and then we'll talk about it some more. So as V6s go, this is pretty nice sounding, and it's partially saved because it's supercharged. If it was turbocharged, I imagine it would sound a whole lot worse, but superchargers really do not take away much in the way of sound from a vehicle. They generally add to it with their supercharger whine, so that's nice to see. Not sure whether or not that's going to be the case for future vehicles from Lotus. They have obviously used supercharged vehicles before in like the Exige, but I imagine turbocharging, or maybe even a mix of electric and petrol, is going to come sooner or later. But either way, this is a really rather nice sports car. Not only do you have the practicality, but you have the looks, you have the power, you have the speed, and you also have the great handling as well, which can encourage you to have fun. But when you get to a proper track, you'll also be able to tear around it with no problem whatsoever. Obviously, it's not quite as light and as nimble as, say, the Exige or the Elise, as they are significantly lighter than this. But this is also more powerful than those cars, and that pretty much makes that up for its weight when it comes to acceleration and top speed, as this can do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, 0 to 100 in 10.4 seconds, and going to a top speed of 181 miles an hour. And again, this isn't even the most powerful version, and since you probably can't find a nice new one of these anymore because they've got discontinued quite a while ago, you'll have the 400 or the 430 Sport, which can do even more than this. The 430 Sport, for instance, can do 196 miles an hour and do 0 to 16 well under 4 seconds. So yeah, there's even more potential behind this car. But even this near standard version is still really rather great, and yeah, it does make me wish that we had the more powerful versions on a Forza game. But as a compromise in terms of having this, like we've had for many a game before, it's still a really good car and easily one of my favourite, sports cars from post 2010, and also favourite cars from Lotus as well. As yeah, they generally do great cars, and yeah, I've rarely been disappointed by them. So yeah, highly recommend trying this out if you haven't already. I feel like it's again one of those cars that does seem to go under most people's radar, which is a shame because it is a really good car, and no doubt can be upgraded to be even better if you so wish, because this car can definitely handle more power. That's why they've been able to screw in another near 100 horsepower out of this thing, and yeah, not had to change much about it. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.